2. Hi, everyone, and welcome to our new show. Are we going to say the name here?
Yeah, Moxie 5.
It's
We
Moxie
just did.
number 5. Well, we've been prepping for the big reveal, so it's a big deal that we've rebranded. We used to be the Sarah Moore and Dori show. We have a special co-host with us. Summer Helene is here, and our amazing star interviewee, Mr. Locario. So welcome, everybody.
What's going on?
We're so excited. I'm coming to you from San Diego at the Marriott Marquis, the most beautiful hotel I've seen in a really long time. And you can kind of see the board behind me. And we're trying to get our pictures up there. So if you're watching our blab right now, hashtag SMDaySD, and tell me that you're watching us from here. So that would be awesome.
I just I did hashtag it, and I don't see it up there yet. Too bad they couldn't put it right behind us.
Right. I'm trying.
We'll see what happens. Yeah. But anyway, we have so many surprises today and announcements, and we have an amazing guest that has come back because it was out of popular demand. Everyone wanted to hear more from Mr. Locario. And today we are talking about fantasies. And if you have ever fantasized about having sex with multiple partners and it being okay, not getting the slap on the face or your partner yelling at you, you want to stay tuned for this one because we are talking open marriage, open relationship, and God knows what else, because we have some people on today, and that is what we are talking about.
I'm really excited.
I'm really interested right now. I'm sitting here, I'm like,
And for those that didn't catch the first show, we had Mr. Locario on, and it was during the after show that he confessed he's in an open relationship with his wife.
Yeah.
So that's where this whole new conversation has come in, is on this big topic. So we're really excited. But for those of you that don't know me, Dori, don't know Summer, I'll give you the quick runaround. I'm Sarah Moore. I'm the CEO at a social media agency based in Dayton, Ohio, the middle of nowhere. It's not as cool as San Diego. And I am coming to you again live from San Diego, and I'm hoping to have maybe Joel Kahn pop in. So I'm looking for him right now too. But Dori is an international relationship coach, and she teaches her clients how to build thriving relationships using the science of neuroplasticity. She's an incredible coach and relationship coach. And Miss Summer, she is... I didn't say literally. I don't even know how to introduce you properly, Summer, because you're so awesome.
In Hollywood history, I started as a Victoria's Secret model, and before the end of the year, I will actually be the youngest studio head in Hollywood history.
Oh my gosh.
Nice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay, and for those of you who have not seen Summer on our show, let me just make the big reveal right now. Our show has changed from the Sarah just mentioned this, the Sarah Moore and Midori show, and now it is Moxie number 5. Do we have a logo anywhere? I don't have it on my step and repeat. Do we have? We should show it. But we have tons of exciting things going on. However, I have to say that I think today may be the last time that we're on Blab. We are going to be changing platforms.
I'm the CEO this week, so we'll see.
We'll see what happens. So stay tuned.
I'm gonna get that now. Okay. Wait and see.
It just seems to be getting a little glitchy, and so we have to be on a good platform as we grow. So we will let you know. Stay tuned. Stay tuned for that. We have a wine coming out, Moxie number 5 wine. It's a 2010 Pinot. It is awesome. It's from the Sonoma Coast. Those of you who are wine people, you understand that Pinot from the Sonoma Coast is some of the best Pinot. And we have an event coming up in LA, a big launch party. So lots of exciting stuff. And if you want to be part of it, let us know.
Can you see the new logo? Okay.
We can see the new logo.
Oh, that's a nice logo.
Yeah, it looks good.
Yeah. We're excited. Yay.
Okay, so as you saw, Sarah is in San Diego live right now. So Sarah, tell us about what's going on down there.
Okay, well, first of all, I wanted to tell you a situation. So it's no secret I'm single. I'm not a really good dater. And I recently had a date with a gentleman. And have you guys read Elizabeth Gilbert's book, Magic?
No, I haven't heard of that.
Okay.
What's that about?
So she has this theory that either you're a trickster or you're a martyr. Okay, you're either one or the other, and it's how you live your life. So you either live your life as a kind of a trickster that's like, ooh, it's the game of life, and oh, let me see what this opportunity brings me. This is going to be fun. Let's try that. But a martyr is somebody that's like thinks that the world is against them, and they're like, no, that's too risky. And so I'm in the middle of this, date, and I literally feel like I'm reading her book running across his forehead. Like the words are just rolling across his forehead. And I'm like, you're a martyr and I am a trickster and we do not match up. So I just wanted to encourage people that if you have this mentality in life where the world's against you, it's not. The world is not against you. And things are coming to you and you have to be able to accept them, but you can't accept it with this martyr personality or vibe. So
I think I gotta say, people that have that mentality, it reminds me of the kind of the Donald Trumps of the world. Everyone's unfair. Anyone that has kids has heard that line that he loves to say, that it's not fair or they're not being fair to me. When you talk about martyrs, to me, that's the martyr. It's the one that goes, it's not fair. It doesn't work that way. I'm trying my best, and no, you're not. Shut up.
Right.
Well, a lot of people, it's easy just to sort of blame everything else because it's you don't have anything else to go after that. So if I say, hey, it's everything else and it's not me, then it's easy to just keep going without any responsibility. You know what I mean? So
if you say everything else and not you, the whole world every time can't be the problem. If you're turning around and going, you know what, my bad, I screwed up. There is something seriously wrong with you, and you're never going to be happy.
Right.
Is every single person around you kind of being a dick? It's the Sarah, and I get that with Sarah. Sarah is definitely like the go-getter. It's okay. All right. The house is on fire. We can make something good of this. So I couldn't imagine you with a guy that's like, it's not my fault. My boss is mean to me. Everything's against me. I can just see the vein in Sarah's head throbbing at the point.
I know that I had to look terrified when it was literally a moment, as if in a movie, and the words are just rolling across his forehead, martyr. And I'm like, this guy's gonna suck the life out of me. And so, for example, there was a car. We're in the car. We're driving to the location we're going to, and somebody cuts in front of him, but didn't really cut him off. There was just more room behind him than there was in front of him, and he got so mad. And I was thinking, wow, what a good move that guy just did. And he was like, idiot. And I was like,
women usually don't women usually tend to not like guys who are complainers or who has a loser mentality, because women want to be around a confident guy, a guy who, is the life of the party or has some sort of energy that's on a positive note. You know what I mean? She doesn't want to be around,
That's a good point. For
all that extra stuff.
All the single guys, that is so true. Because for me, it's such a pet peeve when I hear people, and you can tell right away when someone is one of those people who just doesn't take responsibility. It's always everyone else's fault. I just wanted to take it and just shake them. I can't stand it.
Yeah.
Right.
The worst part is, though, Sarah, this is when the guy's on his best behavior. So think of 10 years from now, he's going to be screaming at the puppy.
Yeah.
Well, and
this is best behavior,
and it's brand new, so it's not looking good.
Got a lot of potential.
Yeah.
I wonder if he's watching right now. He's like, damn it, I thought I had it down.
You got to date more. You got to date more guys, Sarah. That's what you got to do.
I think so.
I know some great single guys.
Mr. Locario, can you write a new book called How to Have Sex with Two Men in One Day?
That's easy. That'll be one page. You just go outside, point to two guys, and tell them to come home with you. That's it. It's really that simple. It's so easy for women to get sex. It's incredible.
That's not always true. My assistant screams a lot of the time that she can't get booty, and she's gorgeous.
That's a lie. Come on.
Really? Now, in defense, she's kind of a dominatrix. This is my assistant, Lexus.
Hi, Lexus.
And she does have trouble finding more than one guy in a day.
She can go to, there's a website called FetLife, I think it's called.
She says it doesn't work well. Apparently,
oh my gosh.
Are creepy guys that live in their mum's basement and you don't know if you're going to come home.
Hey, I didn't say it was going to be the sex you want. I'm just saying you get something, you know.
Oh my God. Okay, so changing the subject a little bit. I was in LA. I was actually in Hollywood. We were staying on Hollywood Boulevard at the Roosevelt Hotel. Mm-hmm. I've never stayed there. I've stayed in LA many, many times, but not in Hollywood. It's a trip. Every single person is either a wannabe actor, a wannabe musician, or they were an actor or a musician and they blew it because they got addicted to drugs. Is that true? Everyone, you can just watch. You can just hear the conversations.
No one in entertainment actually goes to Hollywood. I've made the mistake. I've gone there for premieres and things like that, and I kind of have a little bit of ADD. You guys know this. I'm like, oh, bird. So I go off and follow whatever my brain's doing at that moment. And I've walked off from what I'm supposed to be doing, and they look at me, you know, if I'm in a gown or something from work, and they're like, "Oh, were you there?" Yeah. What do you do? I work in film. Here's my screenplay. Here's my this. Here's my that. Every person that's a wannabe there and isn't putting the effort in is exactly the same kind of guy you dated. The I haven't made it because type. Not the I'm on my way, I'm busting my ass, I'm making friends, I'm working it there. It's the world's against me. This person stole my script. This person did this. This person did that. Woe is me.
Yeah.
Your guy would be there. I think that's where your boyfriend is, right there in Hollywood.
I think I saw him.
Yeah, twice. People as they cross the street.
Man.
Oh my gosh.
Sorry, Sarah.
So funny. But yeah, it was a trip being down there.
So I'm not completely familiar with all the California territory because I'm not from around here, but I'm well traveled in California now that I've been to San Diego. I've pretty much experienced the whole state of California. But what is West Hollywood? Is that same like Hollywood?
West
is the same.
Hollywood, great area, good for clubs. It's a kind of the gay area. You can go to the Viper Room or the Rainbow Room and a couple of places like that. Those areas are great. West Hollywood's fine. But the really touristy area isn't great. I mean, if you want real celebrity sightings, go to Newport Beach, go to Malibu, go to Brentwood, go to where the people live. That's where they are. And one of a very successful actress, a dear friend, actually got her start, went into Brentwood and got a job as a waitress. So she had a chance to meet people, and it was very, very clever.
Yeah.
So she worked there and she bartended in Malibu. And now she's an A-list actress. But that's really how she did it.
That's awesome.
Wow.
Yeah. So I was
putting yourself right in the middle.
That's where you should be. That's what they say.
Well, who you associate with is who you become. If you associate with people who are in strong relationships, you do well. And vice versa. So really, you know, they say you absorb who you become and you become who you're around. That's what happens.
Super true. So do you all watch the Housewives shows? Housewife of Beverly Hills.
Oh, I can't with those. I can't even. I can't.
Okay, well, I watched it like once.
Yeah. How'd that go? I know a few of those women, so I cannot imagine what that's like.
Well, so we went to. I brought my whole family, well, half of my family, to Pump. No. Yes, Pump. So it's one of the restaurants that's owned by Lisa Vanderpump. It's in West Hollywood. Super hip, super cool. But every single waiter there looked like someone from her show. It was a trip. They had like the shirts buttoned down. They had their tie. They looked I mean, they just looked like characters from the show. And so I took a picture with one of them, and I remember looking at him when he first came up to our table. I'm like, you just remind me of a sleaze bag, kind of. And I thought about it, I'm like, oh yeah, that's because you look just like the sleaze bag on her show.
That's messed up. That's messed up.
Mr. Locario, I bet you binge watch it. You're
No, I don't. See, I was on a reality show back in the day, so I'm like I know
one?
It was it's called I Love New York. It was on VH1. It was it was like one of the highest rated cable shows in history at the time.
Yeah.
But it was like you remember like the Flavor of Love series with Flavor Flav back in the day. So they had a spin-off show with one of the girls. Her name was New York. So I was on the first season of that. Yeah, so I was on the first season of that show.
Oh my gosh, I bet.
Yeah, so.
We could see all kinds of dirt about you there.
Yeah, I mean, I was only on 2 episodes, so I got kicked off the second episode.
Oh.
So that was real quick, you know.
Oh my,
but
that's funny.
But yeah, so reality shows are funny to me.
Reality shows, I think, are the least real thing in Hollywood.
Yeah, it's true.
But they make the most money. Good God.
Yeah, it does.
I mean, they make a lot of money.
Yeah,
yeah, and it's cheap to produce. That's the thing, you know.
Oh, so much. Well, everyone's a sponsor. It costs you almost zero bar like your paycheck and their paycheck. And sometimes you can even use paychecks. There are ways to do that. You can actually come out with a zero expense minus crew, and your placement itself can just cover all the overhead. It's a really great way to do it.
Yeah.
Okay, we're going to move to the next segment because we do have Mr. Locario here and we have to take advantage of it. But for those of you who do not know him, let me give you a little background on this incredible dating coach. He has gone down in the books as one of our most interesting guests ever on the show. And not only because he's authored a book called How to Have Sex with Two, I'm going to get it right this time, How to Have Sex with Two Women a Day.
Yeah.
But because we were able to get him to open up, our after show, which we'll have again today, but our after show was the best. And that's when all the secrets get revealed. So in our after show, he happened to tell us that he has an open marriage and therefore that's why his relationship will always last. So we couldn't let that just go. We couldn't let it go. So we invited him back on and we're going to find out how that works. And if you can do it too.
So we're going to ask you the tough questions. I hope you're really ready for this.
Yeah. I'm scared now.
You're in the hot seat. We need to know details on it. I'm very interested. So we're not going to hold back.
I'll tell you as much as I can without incriminating anyone.
Fair. Okay.
So the first question.
Yeah.
How and why did you decide to how did you approach having an open marriage with your wife? Was it before you got married? Was it after? How did that conversation go?
Yeah, well, it was basically like me and my wife, we've been together in total for about 10 years, but we've been together like 7 years, actually 8 years before we got married. And so we've been married for 2 years now. And so what happened was before I was with my wife, my ex-girlfriend who I was with, I was in a monogamous relationship with her. And then I kept cheating on her. So I cheated on her maybe like 18 times or something like that. So then I was like, what's going on? You know what I mean? So I was like, I was like, I want to be with a woman, but I also want to be with other women at the same time. So I was like, hey, the next girl that I'm with, I have to be open with her and be in an open relationship. So when I got with my wife, me and my wife were just dating. I told her, I said, we were actually dating for a couple of months, and then she was like, hey, I want to be your girlfriend. And I said, okay, cool, but I need to let you know that I still might want to see other women. And so she was cool with that because she was like, hey, I might still want to see other guys. And I'm like, perfect. So we got sort of like the same thing. We're on the same page. And then so we just been open basically the whole time. And then it's been like that ever since. You know what I mean?
So, you meet the people that the other person is dating, or?
They said that again? What's the question?
Well, is it, I mean, are you guys like, aside from being open, like swingers? You meet the person that people are dating?
Well, we've dabbled in the whole swinger lifestyle here and there, but it's like I don't necessarily meet the guy she's dating. She doesn't meet the woman I'm dating. Some people in their open relationships do that. With ours, it's just more so like I do my thing, she does her thing, and then that's pretty much it. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like that.
Are you talking polyamory, where you're in relationships with additional people, or is it just a sexual thing?
It depends. Sometimes it's just a sexual thing. Sometimes it's like you continue to see the person and do other things with the person. So it all depends on the person. It's kind of like, if you meet someone, you might say, well, this person's, cool enough to just have sex with, but I don't really want to like hang out with them a lot because all we have is sexual chemistry. And then another person, you might say, oh, this person, we have sexual chemistry and I actually like, hanging out with them and doing other things. So it all depends on the person that you're seeing, you know what I mean?
So you're talking about polyamory at this point.
Yeah.
And what happens if your wife gets really heavily emotionally involved?
What if she gets emotionally involved with another guy? Is that the question? That's the thing that actually, I think should happen. You know what I mean? Like, it's a thing that you can't really control. So if you're, involved with somebody and you're actually feeling them to the point where you have that emotional connection with them, I think it's a good thing, because the thing is that, with me and just the way I see things is that when I'm talking about, love and intimacy and relationships, I don't see it as a thing where I need to keep you locked with me. You know what I mean? I look at love as, freedom. So it's like, if you're seeing this guy and you have a good time with him and you have this connection, that's great, and vice versa. So it's not necessarily like, I want to like just keep you to myself. You know what I mean? Because I think that sort of is like infringing on you as an individual, saying, hey, you can't do this because it's going to make me feel a certain way. So however I feel, that's my issue I have to deal with. You know what I mean? And vice versa. So,
then why get married? Now, I know that's an odd question. I actually am all for your lifestyle.
Right.
But playing devil's advocate, you have people that say the point of marriage is monogamy.
Right.
I don't agree with that. I know a lot of people that I don't think could be monogamous.
Right. Well, the thing is actually they're technically, if you look at it objectively, and I know a lot of people are going to be like, oh my God, what I'm about to say is that there technically isn't any point in marriage. You understand? So what I mean is that
financial benefit.
Right. Marriage is really right. Exactly. Marriage is just really a label, because like I always say, if you're walking down the street and you see a couple holding hands, right? You don't really know if they're married or not, if they're girlfriend or boyfriend, if they're just dating. You don't know what their situation is. But the same actual look of what's going on is the same thing you would see in a marriage or whatever it is. So basically the label of marriage is just a label you put on your relationship. So the thing is that, for a lot of women that I notice, women like the label of marriage, because I can be with a woman and just be with her for 10, 20 years and we don't technically have to be married, but she wants the marriage label because that makes her feel better, because society has said that being married is like the goal. It makes you a better person. Right. You see what I'm saying? I actually was coaching this one lady who she was with her man for 15 years, but he didn't want to get married. He was like, he doesn't believe in marriage. He just likes to be with her. So I told her, I said, what's the difference between you and him being married and what you guys are doing now? If you were married, y'all will both still be together. You'd both still be sharing experiences. You'd both be having probably a good sex life. So everything you want in the marriage, you're doing literally right now. You feel what I'm saying? But you just want the label.
Do you buy gifts for this person? Do you date them? Or do you still date your wife?
Oh yeah.
How do you balance it? Like, how do you balance that? Or how does she not feel like that she's not enough, or that she's not good enough for you?
Right. Well, the thing is, what people got to understand at the end of the day is that, like when a person says, I found the one and this person is the one and everything, that's actually, it's actually false. The person who is the one is yourself. So what you got to understand is that when my wife or myself or anybody else is in any type of relationship, the relationship that you're having with people is just the experience that you're experiencing with that person. So when I'm with my wife, we're sharing time together. I'm not with my wife, because no one's with anyone 24 hours a day. There's going to be times when you're going to be away from your boyfriend, girlfriend, doing your own thing, whatever. So there's literally no difference between, when I'm let's say at work, or my wife is at work and I'm not with her, or when you're going to the movies with your best friend and you're not with your boyfriend or husband, you're having time away from them, but that time away from them doesn't take away the meaningful time that you have when you're with them. You see what I mean?
So are you texting? Are you texting other women while you're with her?
Yeah, sometimes. But if I'm having a conversation with my wife, I'm not going to be texting anybody while I'm having a conversation, because I'm literally in the conversation with my wife. So it could be, I wouldn't even text my brother while I'm with my wife, because I'm actually, while having a conversation, because I'm engaging in that conversation with my wife. You see what I mean? So it's not about me texting another girl. It's about me giving her that attention when we're having that attention with each other. You see what I'm saying? But at the same time, if I'm like just chilling on the couch and she's on her computer somewhere in the house and somebody texts me, I'm going to text them back. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not literally engaged. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, wait, I have to jump in here as the relationship coach, because there is something that's different when you do have that marriage contract. There's a certain type of commitment. It takes your relationship in general, depending on how you approach it. But there is something that's different. And when you I feel as though when you have just that monogamous relationship, right or wrong, I mean, I understand where you're coming from, and everyone has a different perspective of what works for them. But having been together with my partner for almost 30 years and talking with so many other couples and coaching couples, when you are together solely with that one person and you're working just on your relationship, just on making it the best that you can make it, there's a gift there. There's something that brings you super tight. That doesn't happen when your attention's being drawn to other people and you're always on the lookout. When you're forced to focus on just your relationship, there's a way it just takes your relationship deeper and it takes it to a level that is incredible. It's a different type of experience. And so I'm just wondering if you and your wife ever feel, and maybe you can't because you haven't experienced that yet, but just that thing where you are just bonded. No matter what, you two are together, you're in it as a pair. And is this making sense what I'm saying?
No, I know exactly the same, but what you're saying is exactly what also happens in an open relationship. Because what you're saying is like, you have that monogamous relationship with your partner, so you're focusing on that relationship, and the reason why you're focusing on that, if the relationship that anybody's having is authentic, it's because you yourself, like when I said the one is actually you Midori, or you Sarah, or you Summer, whoever, you like the fact that you are in that monogamous relationship because that reflects something within you that makes you feel good about your situation. So the same thing is for an open relationship, meaning that focusing on that open relationship and the dynamics of that is what makes the relationship that me and my wife have stronger. So, for example, what happens is a lot of times, people are looking at like the literal things that are happening in those relationships, but they're not focusing on how the person feels in the relationship and how that relates to how they actually are in the relationship. So this is why sometimes you have a person in a monogamous relationship who will end up always cheating because they've never really focused on themselves. They're focused more on how the relationship looks versus how they feel about what's really going on. So are you really happy in the situation that you're in? So in your monogamous relationship, you're probably like ecstatic. You're like, this is great. So if I said to you, Midori, hey, try this open relationship thing, you might be like, well, you might try it and then it might not fit well with you because that's not what you're about. You feel what I mean? So the opposite is also for me, where I will do this monogamous thing and I've tried that and I've been there and it's like, it didn't feel right. So that's the point where now that I'm in the open relationship, for me, it feels right for me. So the same way that you're focusing and having that connection with your husband or whatever, is the same way I'm having the connection with my wife through this connection.
Let me ask you this really quick. So when the shit hits the fan and things aren't going well, because in any relationship it's going to happen. There's going to be huge, huge problems and downtimes and tough things. When you're in an open relationship, does it make it easier to think that girl over there isn't giving me any problem? She's not giving me a hard time because I'm out of a job or because I'm not coaching my kid or I'm not home enough or whatever. So does it make it easier to go in that direction versus staying focused on your relationship and really, really working out what big issues are?
Not necessarily, because the issue that I would have, let's say if I had an argument with my wife, right? Me seeing another woman doesn't resolve the situation I have with my wife. So I still have to, have that dialogue and talk about it. So every situation, just like, so for example, it's like, we're technically all in open relationships, meaning, like, for example, you have a friend who you might call your best friend, but that's not your only friend. You have other friends too. So you have those open relationships. It's just that when we talk about romantic relationships, it's like a different story, because people sort of don't look at it that way, because a lot of people have sort of been indoctrinated in a monogamous lifestyle. So what I mean by that is most people are monogamous by default. They haven't chosen monogamy. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like, we're in a society where no one has taught you that, hey, this is not the only thing, but you've been conditioned to think this is the only thing, which is why also a lot of people get into monogamous relationships and end up cheating and doing all this other stuff, because they think this is the only way. You know what I'm saying? Because even myself, I didn't know about open relationships until maybe like 10 years ago. You know what I mean? So the thing is that we're sort of brought up in a culture that says this is what it is. But we never asked anybody, is this what you want? You feel what I'm saying? So a lot of people are just doing things because they sort of fell into it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Well, I know Summer has a question.
Yeah. I have hi. I wanted to comment on like two things that we talked about earlier. Most of the men I've dated have put pressure on me to get married. Right. I never actually wanted to get married. That wasn't something I want. So it's not just women that put that pressure. A lot. Right. And put a lot of pressure on marriage. But I know a lot of people, especially my industry, that do open relationships because they don't have the time to put into one strong, serious relationship. And I think what Midori was talking about earlier, and I have to agree with her, at least with what I've seen. I know my assistant does open relationships. My brother does open relationships. Most of the people I work with do open relationships. And watching this, I just don't even do relationships now. I don't want to date because I'm seeing this. But in the open relationships, the pair bonding is what I think Midori was talking about earlier. Is the level of pair bonding? If you're putting that time and effort into multiple relationships. If you have a real problem with your wife, a real struggle, and use these relationships almost as an escape to a degree, I think it would. I correct me if I'm wrong, Midori, but earlier you were kind of making reference to the pair bonding, the people not putting in together and going externally for that reassurance and for the emotional and psychological reassurance. Human beings as a species may not be monogamous. I mean, we're not doves. We're not, we're not necessarily a monogamous species. But monogamy in our society has been a financial benefit. It's been phenomenal for the growth of our species, in that the multi-generational homes and the two-parent homes psychologically have a better effect on the children. And by bringing an open relationship into this, I'm not necessarily downing them. I'm not saying they're good or bad. I'm simply asking, do you think, one, you wouldn't have the same time to give to your spouse in a time of crisis if you're maintaining a second relationship? Because you're not just talking about swinging, you're talking about polyamory. So if you're maintaining multiple relationships and there's a real crisis with your wife or something like that pulls time away, you then are risking your secondary relationship because you're not going to have the time to put into that.
Right. So what do you think?
Well, see, that the thing is that, like you were saying, I wanted to point what you said earlier about the like escaping or escapism to another person. Like when you're in an open relationship, it's not necessarily you're using the other person to escape. That other person that you're dealing with is part of the experience that you want to have with,
I'm not saying that you're doing it on an average basis. Right. I'm saying they're not a risk of that when you do that sort of thing.
You say it again?
is there not a risk of that?
A risk of what?
A risk in those relationships to escape from difficulties with your primary relationship.
No, that's the thing. There's no actual escape from it, because it's the relationship that you're dealing with the other person. It's not an escape from your relationship. It's part of what you want. Because I think what's happening is that when we talk about relationships, people look at relationships as this person I'm with. I need this person to be with in order to make myself happy and to make myself feel whole and all this other stuff. So when I'm in a relationship with my wife, or I'm in a relationship with another woman, or whatever it is, that's all coming from me and my experience and the experience that I want to have. So if there's a crisis going on with my wife and everything, and I'm not sure exactly what the crisis would be, like I guess we could get a specifics of that. But let's say I had to spend some time with my wife, I would tell the other one, let's say I wanted to see another woman, I'd say, hey, right now I got to spend some time with my wife. I'll probably see you in a couple weeks, and that should be fine. The thing is that we've become too dependent on people, even with our husbands and wives, to have to see each other as, well, I need you here, instead of, hey, I want you and I like spending time with you, but I'm not attached to you to the point where I need you for my happiness. And so that's the basis that I come at it with, because a lot of times in relationships, even in open relationships, monogamous relationships, a lot of people are being extremely dependent on their partner for their well-being.
For 1 second. This is Nick, experts.com, who's always on our show every week.
What's going on, Nick?
I'm Dori. Good to see you.
Hi.
What's going on, Nick?
Finish your show.
I will. Yeah. I'm glad you made it.
Why he's not watching our show, Nick? Why are you not watching it?
He just got in. He just got out back from the airport to come to the event.
That's a good question. That's a good answer.
And also, real quick, I wanted to say, a lot of times people, they'll say, if you're in an open relationship, how are you spending time with this one person and focusing on them, and how does that work with focusing on another person? It's the same type of thing of having kids. Like, if you have more than one kid, you're focusing on more than one person. You know what I mean? It's not like I have one kid and I can only have this one kid, and if I have another one, it's not. You know what I mean? Like, you have multiple people that you're dealing with. You know
Do you have children?
I don't have any children yet. No.
Okay. Let's visit that, because I think that's an important question. I know some of the people in the audience want to know that, and my brain is going crazy right now, and I'm so restrained right now. But I have to ask this question.
Right.
So, what about? Are you guys planning on having kids, and if so, how are you going to approach all this? How are you going to present it to your kids?
Yeah, well, I personally, I'm not like a big type of kid having type of, I'm not I don't mind having them, but whatever. But also I have a friend, actually is a couple. They have this website called Juju Mama. You guys should definitely check those guys out. They teach like tantric sex and all this other stuff. And they are a couple, and they've been in an open relationship for about like 20 years, and they have 3 kids. And so I know the husband has, I think, another girlfriend, and the wife has a boyfriend. And so the way they do it is that they all sort of like watch the kids and hang out, and the kids know about it, and everything is cool. The thing is that, again, a lot of times when it comes to relationships and how we view relationships, a lot of it has to deal with how we've been brought up, how we've been taught about what relationships are, what love is, and all these other different things. You see what I mean? So depending on what standpoint you're coming from with it, it's sort of hard to understand how to maneuver and how to actually make things work within the relationships that you're dealing with. So again, like I was saying earlier, is that a lot of people have been taught that, or they've been conditioned to feel that if you're in a relationship, that this person you have is yours. Like if you say my girlfriend or my wife, which is what I'm trying to even get out of saying, it's you're sort of implying ownership on a subconscious level. So if my wife or my husband does this or does that, then it affects me because I feel like this is mine, and this thing that is mine is going to be taken away, or something's going to happen. So I have to always be with that thing that's mine. You know what I mean?
So do you guys keep everything separate bank accounts? If you do see someone else, do you talk to the other person about it, or is that kind of a secret? Or
no, we have like joint bank accounts. We sometimes talk about who we're dealing with or whatever like that. Say that again?
So if you have joint bank accounts, the money that you're using to date these other people then is also being supported by your wife.
Yeah, I guess so. I guess so. And vice versa.
And vice versa. Yeah. Right. So how do you refer to your wife? Because she's your wife, but how do you call her?
Well, the thing is that the correct term should more likely be the woman I'm sharing time with, or the wife, because by saying my wife, it's implying ownership. You understand what I'm saying? And this is why, and then we get attached to those people. So let's say, for example, like a lot of people always ask me, what if your wife, like you were saying earlier, gets emotionally attached to another guy, right? And then basically the answer to that is she gets emotionally attached to another guy. So what? That's what's going to happen. Like, I don't own her. She doesn't own me. We're sharing time together. Do you understand what I'm saying? That's really what it's about. And I think a lot of times what happens with monogamy sometimes is that we've been taught to think that this person is mine. So when that person goes off or checks somebody out or thinks somebody else is cute or, wants to kiss somebody else, then it's like, oh my God, how could you do this to me? But I'm not doing anything to you. I'm doing what I want to do because I am me and I'm my own person. I'm sharing this time with you, but you don't own me. You see what I'm saying? And I think that's the difference that some people don't really sort of like realize when it comes to relationships. Because we look at sorry, go ahead.
So when you do talk about a monogamous relationship, though, and you say, how could you do this to me? If you are not in an open relationship, it is doing something to you, just because in a monogamous relationship, it is an agreement that there will be some form of...
You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right.
It is a betrayal. But in the case of an open relationship, or if you're just dating, it's fine to date a lot of other people. Have you read the American Psychological Association's response to children raised in polyamory?
Have I read that? No, I haven't read that. What did they say?
Hold on, just 1 second. The amazing Joel Kahn. Yeah, we are.
What else?
I can't hear you guys.
He can't hear. Here, share my here. Okay.
We're gonna get all.
Here,
what's going on? How you been?
Really lovely.
How's it going?
What is going on, my friend?
How's it going?
Joel just gave an incredible talk. It was so good about live streaming, but he's going to have a big show.
A really big
on
show.
the 7th.
Well, so if you guys want to see the keynote, we actually streamed it all. Go to facebook.com/JoelCom, and it should be like the top post if you want to see.
That was really, really fast. Can you say it again slow? Sorry.
It's Facebook, JoelCom.
JoelCom.
FB.com/JoelCom. And yes, so on Thursday, July 7th, thank you.
You're welcome.
You know stuff.
At 7 p.m.
Pacific.
It's the farewell show on JoelCom.
It's the final Blab. Well, it's actually Blab Talk Live. Me and Vincenzo. It's the longest running show on Blab, and we are doing our last show. We already got like 200 people signed up for it. It's gonna be so fun.
It's gonna be so fun.
So come on in. We'll see you guys there.
Okay.
Nice.
You're awesome.
Thanks for stopping in. Oh, I just got a kiss from JoelCom.
Nice. Joel is a player. I see it on him.
He is. He's listening to the show.
I'm gonna swing with him later.
Nice. Do it.
Just kidding. People have no idea what's going on because they can't hear
I think you should.
It's funnier.
Well, the American Psychological Association, when it talks about polyamory and the effect on children, it talks about polyamory as a positive. And this was a study done in the 1960s because of the open lifestyle that was created in the 1960s. But it talks about creating issues with children, pair bonding, and even bonding individually with their own parents because of exposure to a larger group. And long-term, children exposed to polyamory have a more difficult time bonding. And the only reason I know this study, by the way, is I adopted a child who has something called unbonded child syndrome. And some of the resolution to this came from this study. So it's the only reason I read it. But it did say that children brought up with parents in open relationships or publicly open. Now, not children of swingers, not children that are brought up in where the parents' life is private, but with children raised in real polyamory or communes, places like that, it caused long-term psychological damage to children and stopped their ability to pair.
And what do we mean by pair bonding? What is that?
Pair bonding means they were unable to create a solid attachment to an individual person. They don't have to be the only person, but pair bonds, like you and your wife are pair bonded. You have, you still have decided you will have sexual relationships or additional relationships outside. But say you had a child who was well aware of the open relationship and met the people that you guys were also dating and that sort of thing, it actually decreases the child's ability to pair bond. So psychologically on the children, there is a negative effect. And that is excluding children who were the children of swings. People that were raised where there wasn't multiple relationships, just multiple sexual relationships. That was relevant. And it says long term that even people who are pair bonded have raising children in polyamory have difficulty putting or explaining it to the child in a reasonable way. So if somebody wanted this kind of relationship, I'm going to ask you and I'm going to ask Dori, how would you explain this to a child?
How would you?
That you have a girlfriend or a different boyfriend or whatever from the parent when the other the people they know have the one mom, the one dad, and no outside. I mean, at some point the child's going to understand this. What would you guys say? I'm going to ask you because you're a relationship expert, and you, sir, because you are just so damn cute. You wrote a book on it. I'm kidding. It's more than just me. What would you guys say? I mean, how would you suggest handling that? Because there are negative effects to a child. Now, again, I'm stating not a child raised with swinger parents, not a child that is kept away from this, because a lot of parents do it and a lot of people do it, and God bless them, they're having fun. But children that are exposed to polyamory.
You want to go first, Dori?
Yeah, I'm not even touching this. Screw this question.
No, I'm good. Great
question. I think it's important.
This is deep.
But I think it's you also, and I'm going to kind of stick up for you a little bit, Mr. Locario. One, you have said that you're not necessarily into having children. Totally fine. But number two, the other issue is, well, what about the families that have gay parents and they're raising their kids? So is it a matter of, without reading the article,
there's no psychological effect or difference on children raised by gay parents. Any child raised with a pair bonded set of parents learn to pair bond. Any child raised with parents that are pair bonded in multiple times or to multiple people had trouble learning to pair bond themselves. Right. So it actually only had to do with multiple.
Okay.
It wasn't same sex, wasn't anything like that. It was just not seeing a single pair bond that affected. But now I'm keep it away from the kids. Because lots of people do that and it works out fine.
And that's what I would say. If you want to have an alternative lifestyle, and there's so many levels of alternative lifestyles, and who's to say really, really what's right or wrong? This is not, an open marriage is not what I suggest with my clients. I think there's a lot of challenges there, and I could go on and on. But that's what I would say is if you choose to be in an open relationship, open marriage, that you keep that separate from your children. Well, that's what I would say.
Well, the thing is, I would say if I have a kid and I would teach them that attachment is not love and it's not happiness. So what happened is when we're talking about this pair bonding stuff, right? It's okay to be with a person and enjoy the time you're with them, but to feel as if you have to have an attachment to somebody is going to, at the end of the day, bring you unhappiness, because there's always going to be anxiety. There's always going to be this level of discomfort because you think that you're going to lose this person, right? So instead of having a relationship with somebody and sharing those experiences with them and having an interesting time with that person and knowing that at any time, this person could leave, this person can die, this person can, whatever it is, then you will have a better relationship. The problem with most relationships is that we're conditioned to think that love is attachment. You understand what I'm saying? And so what I would teach my kid is to say, look, you can enjoy someone, but don't cling. You can be with someone, but don't attach yourself to them to the point where you are feeling like without this person, I can't live. Like people say, I can't live without you and all this other craziness. And that's where the issues come in. The issues come in with how we've been raised. The issues come in with how we've been conditioned to see love and to experience love and to think that love is attachment, which it's not.
Okay.
You know what I'm
Okay.
saying?
So for those of you that are tuning in right now, we're talking to Mr. Locario about an open relationship, and we've been asking him some really tough questions. So, dang, you have brought your game. So you've definitely given us a huge perspective on things. You're in the hot seat with 3 women who are like, you better put your attention on me.
I know, and that's the problem. That's the problem right there. That is exactly what I try to tell people. That is the problem. The point is that, like, there's a great philosopher. I think everyone should look this guy up. His name is Anthony DeMello. Look this guy up. And he basically was saying that life is like a symphony, right? And so a symphony has all these different notes and variables that happen within that symphony. So if you're listening to a symphony and they take out the violin or whatever it is, but all these other things are still playing, so you still enjoy that symphony, right? So you're not going to not like the symphony just because they took the violin out. They're going to put it back in. There's going to be other stuff added to it. So if I'm with somebody and I'm having a relationship with them and they're not there, they're not here at the moment, I'm not going to lose my mind because this whole world and this whole existence is a symphony. I don't need you to be happy. I'm with you because I want to be with you. I'm not with you because I need to be with you. And if you go, then I'm going to still be okay. And that's the type of relationship that I want to be in with the people I'm with. And this is the type of stuff I would teach my kids.
So obviously, and you can tell by the comments that people have a very strong perspective against, what you're saying. So you have really come out and given us some really incredible perspective and something that we should all listen to, because there is a place for that, and for your opinion, and that really matters. So I'm so happy that we got to have this perspective shared on our show.
Oh yeah.
So now we're gonna switch it up.
I have to ask just one more question. Just one more question, Sarah. Yes, just one more. I have to, because I know all these people are saying, all these things against it, but I do know secretly that some of these people listening are like, okay, how in the hell do I do this? So I want to know, Mr. Locario, how if you want to present this idea to your partner, you're in a new relationship or whatever, what are some tips on how we can say, hey, I want to open marriage, I want to open a relationship, I want to sleep around? What are some quick 30-second tips?
Well, the thing is, I would suggest anybody that's trying to do that to start your relationship in that manner. It'll be a little more easier instead of being with someone for 5 years in a monogamous relationship or 2 years and then trying to bring that up. It can still also happen, but I always also suggest that it's better to bring that up from the beginning when you're dating someone and you're trying to get into that relationship. Also, what I suggest people to do is that you have to have a conversation with your partner to see where their head is at, because this might not be something that they're into or something that they want to do. So you have to respect other people's feelings and everything. Because the thing is, there's nothing wrong with monogamy. There's nothing wrong with open relationships. That's what I got to get across. It's about understanding what you want. And that's what I try to explain to people with relationships. Any relationship you're in is about you. It's not about anybody else. Even you could say, oh, I love my husband. My husband's the greatest. But that's really all about how you love your husband. And I love my husband. It's all about you. It's about how you feel. So it's the same way with an open relationship, is that person in that open relationship likes to be able to experience life that way in relationships, the way you like to experience life in your monogamous relationship. So it all depends on if you're authentic with it. Because you have people who are in monogamous relationships who can't stand being in a monogamous relationship. You have people in open relationships who can't stand to be in an open relationship. So it's like you have to figure out what's really your thing.
Right for you.
And that's the part that I try to get to people. You see what I mean? And
okay.
Should we do a segment really quick where I say it to my husband? I bring him in here and say, hey, I have an idea. Should we try it?
I think you should. I think
you should go Facebook Live with that and just see how that goes out. And then suddenly it goes dark.
I gotta say this. I am all for what you are doing. I think the most important thing in a relationship is honesty.
Right.
If you want to be monogamous and be honest. If you want to be polyamorous, be polyamorous and be honest. If you want to be swingers and be honest. Right. I think what you are doing is fabulous. I know there's a lot of backlash against it. I've seen it. I've dealt with, a lot of shows and things and a lot of people that live this lifestyle. And I know people push back. Right. And I think you are incredibly brave and incredibly wonderful.
Yes.
To kind of step out and say, you know what? this is what I'm doing, because there are a lot of people that feel really alone in this out there.
Mm-hmm.
I know, and I'm going to go back to my assistant. I know she does.
Right.
You know, in her lifestyle, she's a dominatrix and she's into the swinger thing, and she feels very, very isolated. And she's actually right next to me, eyes glued to you on this show. So I think it's wonderful that you're bringing that forward, because you're doing it in a positive way and you're doing it in an honest way where people aren't getting hurt. And I think it is much better to be in an open relationship and be honest than to be in a monogamous relationship and lie. And I'm very impressed.
So, and that leads me to a question. And the question that we're going to end the show with here is you're becoming somebody that people who do feel isolated can look to, and you're paving a new path, much like what we saw when, you know, gay marriage and things were coming to be. It was a new path, and it was hard for people to walk through. It was very, you know, distraught. What is, Mr. Locario, what is the legacy that you want to leave? Is it centered around some of this movement, or is it different?
Well, the thing with everything that I do is all about, you know, being yourself and understanding who you are. And so, like, no matter what that is and no matter what you're about, and not worrying about what other people feel and think, because there's a lot of stuff that people do that I don't agree with and I don't like personally. But who am I? Who cares what I think? If that's what you want to do it. You know what I mean? And so that's what I try to get across to people, is that you have to understand that and figure that out. But also, like when we were talking about earlier with, like, you know, relationships and love and all this other stuff, the thing is that I think people need to understand that they are the one. You are the one. It's not your boyfriend. It's not your girlfriend. It's not that guy that you work with. It's not that girl that you want to talk to down the street. You are the one. You are the one who you need to make happy. You understand? So you have to find people who basically, relate to that. Who basically people who you attract who want the same exact things that you do. The reason why, I'll tell you the reason why me and my wife been together for so long and we work out. It's not because of the open relationship or whatever. The deeper meaning is that the reason why me and her have a great relationship is because she honors my individuality and I honor her individuality. And that's what makes a relationship work. A lot of times relationships don't work is because everybody's putting everybody else before them. Everybody's trying to accommodate to somebody else, and they're not being honest with themselves and honest with other people. So you have to be honest with yourself, and then you attract people who have the same type of things that you want to make happen in your relationship. You know what I mean?
Yes. Mr. Locario, where can we continue to hang out with you? Our show's wrapping up here. Where can we stay connected with you?
Oh, definitely. You guys can go to MrLocario.com. That's MrLocario.com. For any of you guys out there, I have free books and DVDs and audio programs for men and women. So I have a free ebook for men. I have a free audio program for women called Seven Highly Effective Steps to Finding and Keeping a Man. So you ladies can get that. Also, I have a website called Bad Boy Membership for guys that teaches you how to step up your dating game. So you can find me on Bad Boy Membership, MrLocario.com, and also my blog site, iLookSexyNaked.com. So make sure you check that out. So, and thank you for having me on here too. Again, I love it. You guys are great.
Thank you for sitting in the hot seat. Thank you. This was really awesome. So we really appreciate it.
And Summer, thank you for being here. I appreciate it. I didn't even, like the statistics you said, I didn't even know about that. So I'm glad when people put me on this stuff, because I had no idea. You know, so that's cool.
Oh, it's great. Actually, the way you're doing it is considered one of the more positive ways to do it. So I thought maybe you'd read the study, or I
appreciate that. I appreciate that.
You know your shit. I like you.
I appreciate that.
So, we have a new show name, and it's Moxie number 5. And so we're going to sign off, but with a new sign off today. It's kind of clever. But before we do, again, I'm Sarah Moore with C Media. You can see more on my website at cmedia.net. And Dori has a way for you to create more passionate, fun-loving relationships. You can get access to her free webinar at medoriverity.com. Summer, she's just awesome. Do you have anything you want to offer the audience today?
Listen in to Behind the Scenes. Jump on Voice America tomorrow at 4:00. I do a show every week. We talk about how to get rich and how to get famous, and that's what I do. I make people rich and make people famous, and I create all of the shows you love to hate.
Nice.
Awesome.
Nice.
Our show's not going to be one of those, though. You're going to love our show.
Actually, one thing we're doing is on my radio show and on here, we're going to track the building of this show. And one of those steps is calling you Mr. Sean. I think your name's like Potpourri. Oh, okay. We have a meeting. We're going to call you. And yeah. Wait, this is an up and coming platform. We like this. So we're going to be following and tracking the building of the show and how it goes and let everyone see it. And this is one of the good ones. It's not the usual crap that I know.
I love you. Okay.
You know, I have to say, I've been trying to type in Moxie number 5, but the word Moxie doesn't allow me to type it in. Try it, Sarah. I don't know what's going on.
I'm having a hard time because I'm on my cell phone and I just it's just really hard to use Blab on your phone.
It is.
I don't know how to use a computer.
So here's what we're signing off with, and we'll stop recording after the sign off, but we will keep you on for just an extra minute, Mr. Locario.
All right.
So here's our sign off for today, and you're gonna love it. But if you want to get laid by 2 people in one day, then you better get Moxie. And with the sirens in the background, that couldn't be more perfect.
It's like the fireworks.
So we will see you guys next week. Stay tuned for any updates that we have about the show, and we'll see you all next week.
And also follow us on Facebook. Right now, it is Sarah Moore and Dori on Facebook, but we'll be updating it, and it will be switching over to Moxie number 5. But that's where our updates will be in case the show changes from Blab by next week.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, okay.
All right, you guys.
Peace.
Bye.
See y'all later.